The opinions expressed on the Simone Edwards Show by our guest are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of KEPXradio.com, its owner, and or the Simone Edwards Show and those affiliated with it. In no event will the Simone Edwards Show, KEPXradio.com, its owners, guests, hosts, or affiliates be liable for the information disseminated on the program, including, without limitation, any loss or damage, indirect or otherwise, arising from information presented on the show. We trust you are of legal age and will consult appropriate professionals prior to employing any opinions expressed on the show. Many of the topics discussed are personal in nature, and some people may disagree with the opinions expressed on the show. We are open to your constructive criticism and or ideas for future radio programs. Please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. All right, we want to welcome you once again to the Simone Edwards Show. We hope that you are having a wonderful Saturday afternoon. We are here in studio in sunny San Diego. The weather is beautiful, beautifully hot, but it is beautiful. And we are in studio with two very dynamic ladies. First and foremost, I want to introduce to some and present to others my always fabulous and awesome program manager, Antonia Washington Brown. She's back! Woo! Oh my God, you guys, she left me for a week and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Come back, Tony. So I'm so glad to have her back in studio. And we have this amazing woman that I actually was talking to before the show, and she was just sharing some aspects of her life, and she is like this incredible puzzle that I cannot wait to put the pieces together. So I want you to just take a moment and just say hi to our audience, Lynda West.
Hi, everybody. And I love being described as a puzzle because puzzles take a long time to finish, and I still have many years to go.
Oh, that is awesome. I absolutely love that. So we are just going to get the perimeter.
Okay.
And maybe some background pieces, but maybe not all the details yet.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. And Antonia, say hello to the audience. We haven't talked to you in a while.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so those of you who are regular listeners to the show, you know how we do here is kind of like girlfriends, guy friends chatting over coffee. And so before we jump all the way into the deep end, we just want to get to know Lynda a little bit. So first and foremost, Lynda, where are you from?
I was born and raised in San Diego at Balboa Hospital, so I am one of the very few natives here in town.
You are one of the few natives here in town. Okay, so give me your vantage point of San Diego over the years.
Oh my goodness, it's changed so much. I'm 52 years old, so when I was born...
No way.
Yes, way.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was born in 1963, and it's the end of the boomer age, and as I was growing up, we actually moved into a house in Chula Vista. Mm-hmm. And when we moved into the house, it was funny, my mom told me that they struggled every day, every month, and they weren't sure how they were going to be able to make their $100 mortgage payment every month, which is amazing.
Right?
My dad was military. He got stationed here in San Diego, and unfortunately had a heart attack when I was 2 years old. So we ended up staying in San Diego, which was a good thing for us. But he didn't die.
Right.
He had his first heart attack when he was 35 years old. So he was very young.
Wow.
Yeah. So growing up in San Diego is, I didn't grow up anywhere else, so I don't really know the differences. But I did move for a short period of time to Idaho, came back to San Diego because I missed it so much. But one thing I can say that I really, really remember was when we were little, I want to say maybe I was 6 or 7, we would hop on the ferry in San Diego and put our car on the ferry, go across the bay to Coronado.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was before the bridge was built.
Wow.
I still remember that memory of being on that ferry. There's a lot of towns that have ferries in the United States, but San Diego, this is the only ferry we had. So
yeah.
Get on your car, go across the ferry, get off the ferry, and then go, somewhere in Coronado. I don't know what we did when we got there. Probably go to the beach, But it was just really cool watching that bridge go up when I was little. And I do remember when they had that bridge finalized, they said, we're going to charge a toll. And they were going to charge a toll for however many years until it was paid off.
Right.
But it kept going and going and going. And finally, they got rid of that toll booth again, about 5 years or so
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And I was like, thank you. They finally got rid of that toll booth. So that was a good thing.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. Like you've actually watched the history of San Diego unfold.
Actually, lots of it. Yeah, Highway 805 was not built when I was a kid. I think it's been there about, I want to say maybe 30 years or so.
Oh wow.
I was around 8 or 9 when that thing went up, and I remember we used to always go on the Highway 5 to go everywhere.
Right.
And then when the 805 opened up, my mom was so thankful that we had another route to get places, and none of that stuff. East of the 805 in Chula Vista was there. East Lake was non-existent. There were lakes. There was the Otay upper basin and the lower basin, and we used to go out there and party when I was in high school and stuff, but there was nothing out there. It was totally vacant land. It was really awesome. But they've built it up. It's now a beautiful town down there.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. So for our listeners who are out of state and for our listeners who are in other countries, we're going to digress a little bit from San Diego because I'm sure they can't picture the things that us natives and those, our local audience that are like, oh yeah, wow, we get that.
Right, exactly.
So let me ask you a question. When you were younger, I know that you are the owner of Alms Productions, and we're going to get into that in your journey, right. But what did you want to be when you were younger?
I actually wanted to be a child psychologist. And
really, why?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I do remember when I was young, I just wanted to be a child psychologist. I liked kids, and when I saw kids that were kind of, quote unquote messed up, I always wanted to fix them. And so I figured that, hey, a child psychologist, I guess that's what I want to be, right?
Right.
That didn't happen, but that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. We all have hopes and dreams when we're kids, and we go through iterations and changes in our lives. And as we grow older, still even today, as I'm growing older, there are still different things I want to do that I'm not doing that I wanted to do when I was younger.
One of the things that I absolutely love about you is you're so vibrant. Like when you said you were 52, 53, 52, I was like,
yeah.
Like there's no way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really thought you were in your early 40s, and I was kind of like, what? Wait, no, because you're so vibrant.
Oh, thank you. I love life. I just really love everything about life, and I always try to see the good sides in everything. It's hard sometimes, granted, but really, I feel that seeing the good sides in things is what keeps me feeling young and vibrant and more alive.
I would agree with that. I think that's an awesome philosophy to have. I really do.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's kind of like an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, I'm going to aim for to see the good in life, so that those 20% is kind of like, okay, well, I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, I think 80-20 is good. I'm going to shoot for 95-5,
I love it. I love it.
That's what I shoot for, but, sometimes I don't make that mark.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you room to adjust.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. So before we jump into Alms, if you could see yourself 5 years into the future, or let's project 10 years into the future, what would you hope to have accomplished? What would you like to do?
Well, that'll be a little segue into Alms. Just to give a little bit of background, I was a legal secretary for 20 years.
Okay.
And just most recently, I worked for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Oh, wow.
Which in the legal secretary world, that's the highest court you can be in, besides the Supreme Court of the United States in Washington, D.C. So that was, a very prestigious job, and I really enjoyed the job until I realized that I wasn't doing really what was at my heart.
Right.
I had done for 20 years what I needed to do to help, pay for food, get, food on the table for the kids, and I am married, and clothing, school supplies, all these things. So I did what I needed to do financially to make sure that we could make it. Right. And then I think it was August of 2014. So I met with a life coach. Okay. Which literally changed my life.
Wow.
And what's amazing is, first I kept saying, gosh, she's changing my life. She's changing my life. And she kept making sure that that I understood that it wasn't that she was changing my life, is that I was changing my life, that she was just helping unlock things inside of me that I didn't know were there.
Right.
And one of those is the realization that I actually am here on earth. I have a calling here. I didn't know I did.
Wow.
So I was 51 when I realized that my calling on earth is to help nonprofits, and that's to help them grow and become sustainable. What does that mean? I don't know. That's part of the puzzle. I'm still unfolding, which is really amazing for me because I'm just seeing, at every turn, all these different things that I'm supposed to be doing. And now my brain, my heart, my soul is open to receive those things and to see them.
Oh my gosh, Lynda, you have no idea. Like, I feel like a 5-year-old inside. I'm jumping up and down because you have just unlocked a Pandora's box. The first thing is, I love the fact that you said, I didn't get this figured out until I was 51.
Yeah.
Because I think for our listening audience, that takes the pressure off, because we live in a society where the media consistently shows us people who are figuring it out at 15, at 8, at 21. And so for those of us that are not in that category where I had my life figured out, or I came up with that thing that, solved all of my financial problems, it gives a great deal of hope to know, regardless of where you are, God will really lead you to that place where you can find out, this is why you put me here.
Right.
This is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. So the first question I'm going to ask, and I've been given my 5-minute warning. So how has that changed you waking up in the morning?
It's changed everything. I will say that when I figured this out, it was actually November of 2014.
Okay.
And I had been given a task by my coach to write down everything that lit me up, whether it was watching the ocean or looking at birds or writing a blog, social media, whatever it was, whatever just made my heart sing, write it down. And then one day I was pouring through that list, and it was a couple weeks after I had written the list. I was pouring through that list, and I was like, what is the commonality between these things? There has to be something here that I can do to make a living so that I can do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then I looked through that list, and I figured it out, and that was that I'm an event planner, right? So I go, oh my God, I'm an event planner. But then I realized that that's not really what I am. I'm glad I listened a little closer.
Right.
Because I realized I don't want to put on somebody else's event. I have ideas, thoughts, dreams, and I want to put on my own events.
Right.
That's why I started Alms Productions. I actually produce events that are nonprofit events. I do fundraisers, and I have an educational series where I help them learn things that they need to know to help them grow and become sustainable so they can do what they are here for.
There is so much I absolutely love about all that you're saying. I love the fact that you said, I listened, that I didn't, and I realized, and I was true to myself. And I didn't, yes, I plan events. And I love the fact that you were brave enough. Can I just give you kudos for that you were brave enough to say, to be honest, because sometimes, especially as women, we're not really honest with ourselves.
Right. We have all these expectations that we think are expectations of us.
Right.
And that's our own problem. We need to get over that. Get over that, because we do have things that are expected of us, but they don't have to be. We don't have to accept that.
Right.
We do not have to accept that. We need to be true to ourselves.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And that you were brave enough to say, yeah, I do plan events, but I don't want to plan somebody else's event.
I don't care what color blue you want.
Right.
I care what color blue and purple I want.
I love that. Okay, you guys, we have to take a break. We will be back in just a few moments with Lynda West. She is just an incredible woman, and I hope that you are enjoying her. We'll be back in just a moment.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to become a guest on The Simone Edwards Show? Well, please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back in studio with Lynda West and the awesome and dynamic Antonia Washington Brown. And we are here with Lynda talking about her journey to finding her purpose, meeting with a life coach, discovering what she's really passionate about. And we're going to find out a little bit more about this because this has actually been really fascinating. So in 2014, you met with a life coach.
Yes.
What precipitated that? What led up to, I need to meet with a life coach?
Well, it's divine intervention, I guess. I actually, on Facebook, there's a bunch of groups and things, and I belong to a bunch of groups. And there's this one group that I belong to where this one woman, I hadn't met her before, she posted saying, I'm a life coach and I have taken a hiatus and I'm coming back and I'm offering to the first 5 people this deal. And I just emailed her and I said, I'm in. I don't know who you are, but I felt like she was talking to me.
Yeah.
And so I just answered the call, and said, okay, I'm in. I'm going to see what this is all about. And I had never had a life coach before. I had different types of coaches, but never a life coach. And I reached out to her, and that's really what was the really big change in my life. I've had a lot of changes in my life, but this one was literally life altering.
Were you scared to make the change, to go from having the steady job and the steady paycheck and moving out on your own and saying, okay, I'm going to start this? Talk to us about that process.
So glad you asked that question because I did want to address that. First of all, I've gone through a lot of changes in my life. I've never been afraid of change because I've always seen that if I don't want to get stuck doing something for a period of time if I'm not happy.
Right.
My goal has always been to be happy in my life, to do whatever I have to do to get there. So when I realized that I had a calling here on earth, I also realized that nothing could get in my way.
Wow.
I couldn't allow anything to prevent me from doing what I'm called here to do.
Wow.
It was very, I don't want to say spiritual, but kind of spiritual,
Yeah.
in a way. And I'm married. I've been married for 27 years.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Well, 24 years married, 27 years with him. So might as well say 27 years. But I went to my husband and I said, and by the way, he's 70 years old. He's retired. We don't have much retirement income from his income, whatever, because a lot of that goes to a life insurance policy for me. He wants to make sure I'm taken care of because he's much older than I am. And I had to say that caveat only because it's not like, oh, she has a second income.
Right.
No, our second income is $200 a month.
Right.
So might as well, as far as money goes, think of it as I'm a single person, okay?
Right.
I just had to put that out there.
And can I just throw
Yes.
this in there?
Yes.
I love the fact that your husband is thinking ahead for your future.
Yes.
Should he not be here.
Yes.
And so if I can just throw that out there, ladies, when you're choosing a mate, look for qualities in the guy that shows that he's forward thinking concerning your well-being should he not be here. I just wanted to kind of
I never even thought about that. I mean, I guess I got lucky.
Yeah.
I do know that. I know I was very lucky when I found him and he found me,
Yeah.
But I will throw at you though that so I came home from work that day when I
Right.
realized that I had a calling, like what it really was. Because a lot of times we go through, what are we here on earth for?
Right.
This is kind of a silly place if you don't really know what you're here for, right?
Right.
So I came home and I said, guess what? I'm quitting my job. And he said, okay, what are you going to do? And I said, well, we're going to take a second mortgage out on our house. And I'm going to follow this dream, this passion, why I'm here.
Right.
And he said, no, we're not. And I said, well, there's an option. I'm going to do it without you or I'm going to do it with you. Because I knew that my calling was more important than anything else here on earth. Now, I love him dearly, but I felt that this calling, it was more important than the love I have for a human being on earth.
Wow.
I had so much more in store for me here. And I can't bottle that up and just wait and wait and wait. It might never come if I don't act on it now.
Right.
Is how I was feeling. And so fortunately he said, okay, I'm with you. Let's do this. Put everything you got into it. Make it happen. Because
Right.
I know you can.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that it kind of started out with what could seemingly be an obstacle, because really, really, you had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? But I think the lesson that I gleaned that I want to share with the audience is, just because you face an obstacle, sometimes the obstacle is really to test how passionate you are about the thing that you believe you're called to do.
Right.
Because if you really are called to do it and you really are driven to do it, it doesn't matter what's in front of you, you're going to find a way to get it done.
Exactly.
And I think because your husband saw that passion, he saw that drive, it was like, oh, no. This is different than any other request that she's ever made.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really was too. And it's kind of interesting because I have been tested this year. I had an event that I put on called Lemon Zest and Garlic Fest. It was an inaugural event. And boy, was I tested, because first of all, we had the heaviest rains we have ever had in San Diego in July in recorded history of weather.
Wow.
The day of my event. But people were still smiling, having a great time. And it really was a test to see, how can I make it through this difficult event? And I knew I was being tested the whole day. And things were coming at me that I could have seen as, oh my God, I got to shut it down. I got to shut it down. But then I kept on saying, no, I have to keep going. Let's make it through this. We just got to make it through another 3 hours, another 2 hours, really, this is how I was thinking throughout the day. And I was battling the shut it down, keep it open, shut it down, keep it open, because it was raining so hard, tents were collapsing.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the music had to be shut down. They didn't even, I think there was one song that was played because the rain was coming down so hard that all the equipment was getting just pummeled with showers. It was crazy. It was like 5 minutes before the event started, and the rain just came down. Now, I'm born and raised in San Diego. I don't pay attention to the weather people because they cannot really predict our weather.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So, okay, they say thunderstorms. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's going to go to Baja, or it's going to go to LA. It's going to skip San Diego because it always has historically done that.
Right.
And so I went ahead and went forward with it. And then, then it starts raining, and then it starts raining harder. And then you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to stop in 5 minutes. And it didn't. It rained for almost 5 hours from the beginning of my event to the end of my event is how long it rained.
Wow. But you kept the event going the entire time.
Kept the event going, yeah. Some people might argue that was a bad move, but you know what? I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. And when you're the person who's in charge of an event like this, first of all, I got to share that is my whole life, I have never been in charge where I got to make the decision, and I got to say, my decision is the ultimate decision, right or wrong. If it's a bad decision, it's my fault. If it's a great decision, my team is the one who was successful with it.
I love that.
And this was just a huge test for me. Things didn't go as planned, but it still was a great event. And we're getting ready for the second annual one. August, we moved it out a little bit, August of 2016.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to it. My team is on board, the same team. They came back, which tells me something about, what I was able to put together, leadership skills, whatever it is. I'm just so grateful to have such wonderful people around me at all times. It's amazing.
There's so many, I can't say enough good things about your attitude. I'm like tripping over my words because I love the fact that you said if it failed, it was my fault.
Yes.
But if it went well, I gave credit to my team.
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. And I love the fact that you talked about making the decision and living with whatever the choice was.
Right.
And I have on my desk, and a couple of my coworkers will tease me on it, but my desktop background is 21 principles for success. And one of the points in the 21 is make a decision, right or wrong, make a decision. Because sometimes we get stuck at the paralysis of analysis. Mm-hmm. Should I? Shouldn't I? I don't know, maybe. And I just listened to you talk about, okay, the rain didn't stop. So, okay, we're going to stop the music. People, and then you started to gauge your audience. People are having a good time. They're still smiling. They're still
Right.
doing whatever. My team is great. My team came back. And so I'm going to continue with it. And I'm going to see it all the way through
Right.
in spite of the test.
And the volunteers were amazing. I was so fortunate to have the best volunteers ever. I don't know how they found us, but they found us.
That is awesome. And can I just share this with you that in some cultures, rain is considered a blessing.
Oh, really?
Yes, when something happens, if it rains on your wedding or if it rains at an event, it is actually considered a blessing, because if you think about it from, kind of going back a little bit, if you think to agricultural times, rain was always seen as a blessing because
Right.
rain came to water the earth to then produce fruit later on. So see it as, God blessing
Yes.
your event. All right, you guys, we are having a great conversation. I've been given you are out of time. So we are going to take a break, and we will be back in just a moment to hear more about Lynda. We're going to talk about what Alms Productions is and what she does. This journey has been so amazing, and stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to become a guest on the Simone Edwards Show? Well, please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back here in studio with Lynda West on the Simone Edwards Show, and we are talking to this amazing woman, putting the pieces together of her life. So we're going to talk now about Alms Productions.
Okay.
So you've told us about your journey. Started last year. For those who are just tuning in, started last year. You met with a life coach. You discovered your purpose at 51 years old.
Yes.
That is so amazing. You have no idea how awesome I think that is. It's just because we live in such a youth saturated society, and we hear so much about young people discovering that. I think a lot of times, those in their 30s, those in their 40s, those in their 50s, if we're not careful, you can start to feel like discouraged, and what is my purpose and what is it that I'm supposed to do? Do you have any insight on that?
Well, I have advice on that, actually.
Yes, please.
A mantra that I just started adapting to myself is I have a tendency to kind of go off track or to act on things quickly. Like I'll think of something and I act on it. So what I've adopted recently is to stop, listen, think, and then act. So instead of thinking of an idea and just reacting to it now, I will stop and I will listen to myself as well as to those around me. And I don't listen too much to those around me, because a lot of times I find that what I do is I'll listen to those around me, but a lot of times I'll still go back to what I thought. And a good example would be like a website design or a logo design, for example. I have seen so many times, I don't know how many times I've seen people post, hey, I have these 3 different logo designs. Which one do you guys like? But then they will say, my favorite is number 1, right? So then the majority of the people will say number 3, but they still go with number 1. So like you put it out there because you want validation.
Wow.
But you still go with your gut and your instinct, which is the right way to go, I believe, because you know what's right for you.
Right.
Now, it might not be right for everybody, but you know what? There are billions of people on this earth. How many do I really need to get in my corner? I know it's kind of a weird way of thinking of it, but really, how many do I need to get in my corner? So I stop, I listen to myself and to others. And then I think about what I thought and about what they said to me. And then I formulate my plan, and then I take action on it. Instead of just, thinking up something and reacting to it. I stopped reacting to things.
I love that. I love the whole stop, listen, think, and then act.
Yeah.
Because as you were talking, I can even see myself in that, because I'm very much a doer.
Right.
It's like, okay, it needs to be done. Let's just do it.
Right.
And that helps me personally. So I really hope that, those of you who are listening, that it helps you as well to know that, pay attention to those times when God is transitioning your life and he's moving you out of reaction. I think reaction is good because it programs you to be a doer. And sometimes we can be complacent and we cannot be doers. But then there comes a time when he starts to transition your life and it's like, okay, I want you to stop and think about what you're doing. I want you to stop and think about the investment that you're making. I want you to stop and listen for my voice, listen for guidance, listen for direction. And, we call it our gut and that gut instinct.
Right.
But I really believe that a lot of time that's God, whether we acknowledge him or not. For the believer, the Bible tells us, acknowledge God in all your ways and he'll direct your path. And it's that gut feeling of, no, if you're going to take the time to pray and ask, if you're going to take the time to stop and ask the question out, some people say to the universe, for those of us who believe, we know that we're speaking not to an empty space, but we're speaking to God, the creator of the universe, then the answer is going to come back. And rather than, I love that, what you said, because I've been guilty of it. Instead of putting it out there and seeking for that validation, no, go with your gut.
Right.
Make the choice, go with your gut, make a decision. Oh my gosh, Lynda, I could talk to you forever.
Let's do it.
Yes, I love your insight. I really do.
Thank you.
So,
well, that's what 52 years on Earth will do for you.
it really, yes. I love what I love it. I love the insight and your ease and how you're just so settled into what you're doing and this call.
Well, it's interesting. I haven't always been that way. I actually, growing up, I was teased a lot. And,
Really?
And by being teased, what I tended to do was to tease myself quicker than anybody could tease me.
Interesting.
I found that I could make fun of myself so much faster than anybody else could think of something. So I was always the brunt of my own jokes. I did that a lot when I was a child. So I would get away from that. And what that ended up doing is making me become a very sarcastic person. So I was very sarcastic up until probably about, I would say, around the age of 25 to 30, somewhere around there, where I started realizing that sarcasm was actually mean. Sarcasm, jokes are fun as long as somebody isn't getting hurt by them.
Right.
And I was like that. I was kind of like the jokester always. I still have a fun, I think, funny personality, but it's not as sharp as it used to be.
I love that.
I now am cognizant and aware of what I'm saying and making sure that the humor is something that's more light and not mean.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just, I realized that, probably about age 35 or so, that I wasn't a very nice person.
Wow.
I just was not a very nice person, and that I needed to change that. So I started reading a lot of, self-help books and how do I become a better person, and, started changing my thoughts and patterns and things like that. But I didn't really realize that I had value to offer people.
Wow.
Until I was about 50 years old.
Interesting.
So I've done a lot of training people, mentoring people, but it was just what I was doing. It wasn't like it was a thought that I was going to train people or I was going to mentor people, but it was just what I was doing here. That's what I was doing. And so about 50 is when I realized that I can actually speak, and people will actually listen. I always felt like I was never heard. Now, it's not that I wasn't ever heard. I felt like I was never heard.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I had any value to offer to anybody in a crowd. And I didn't offer that value because I was too scared to offer that because they might criticize me.
Wow.
But now I realize that it doesn't really matter because I am who I am. The value that I have is the value that I have and I believe in for myself. And that's what really is important. I may say something and to somebody it might just sound totally stupid, ignorant, but it doesn't matter because it matters to me.
Oh my gosh. I love you.
I've been unleashed.
I am.
That's what's happened.
I love it. Lynda Unleashed. I love it. We need to develop a show.
Yeah, Lynda Unleashed. Whoa.
So what was your aha moment when you realized, no, I have value. I've been doing this and it's like second nature and it's breathing to me. But no, I actually have value.
I can tell you exactly that day. I don't know the day, but I was sitting in a room full of entrepreneurial women.
Mm-hmm.
I belong to this membership called Hera Hub, which is entrepreneurial women.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get up in front of those women, about 60 or 70 of them. Brilliant, just really forward-thinking women. And wanted to get in front of them to tell them what my business idea was. Now, it was before Alms Productions. This was like 2 years ago. And I was scared. I was so terrified to get up in front of them. But I knew I had to break through this fear of getting up in front of these, like I said, brilliant women, right? So I did. I broke through that fear. I got up there and I gave my talk. I think it was about 5 minutes, talking about my business idea. And I didn't know if it was a good idea or not, but I was going to put it out there in front of these women. And what was the defining moment for me is when they started asking me questions and I was actually able to answer them.
Wow.
Like I knew the answers. And how simple that is was life-changing for me, because I realized that I can be in a group of brilliant minds, and I'm one of them. And I actually walked around the room as I spoke, and I eye contact with every single person. I mean, I was in front of every single person, walking up to them and looking at them and saying, I belong here. I am brilliant.
Wow.
I actually belong in this room of people that 2 years ago, I never would have thought I deserved to even be there.
Right.
So a lot has gone on with my brain, like I said, really, literally unleashed.
Right.
That I see the brilliance I have. And it's okay to say that. It's not conceited.
Right.
It's just knowing. And there's nothing wrong with knowing that you have value.
Right.
It's just really been a life changer for me.
And it's really interesting because I think what the real issue is, or what the real problem is, sometimes we think to say that I'm brilliant or to say that I have value is somehow that's wrong and it's prideful, or it's no, actually the opposite. If you say, well, let me back up a little bit. To recognize that others also they have their own brilliance and they have their own value. That's prideful.
Right.
I think a lot of times when we sell ourselves short, that's the real disservice, because we don't ever reach the people that we're supposed to reach. We don't ever impact the lives that we're supposed to impact. We don't ever do the thing that we were created to do. So
right.
I love the fact that you discovered your value. And I can't say this enough. I love that sitting in front of me, we really need to start videotaping, Antonia. Sitting in front of me is this incredibly beautiful, vibrant woman. And you discovered this at 50, which, for those who are out there that are kind of like chomping at the bit and you feel like, I'm 30, I'm 20, I'm 40, and I don't know my purpose and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, hang on, you'll discover it.
Yeah.
Whatever you were created to do, God will lead you to it, and you'll find your path and you'll find your calling, and you will lock in just like Lynda did and zero in and kind of come to that moment of, this is my calling and this is what I'm created to do, and this trumps everything else in my life. And then you'll kind of watch God like put all the pieces together and it'll fall into place.
Yeah.
I promise you guys, when we come back, we are going to discuss Alms Productions. We are going to talk about what Alms does, right? Because the conversation's been so rich and so vibrant and so good.
Can I just share really quick
yes.
A saying that I've come up with, and that is, be brave and show your weaknesses, for in your weaknesses others see your strengths.
Oh, I love it. Can you say that one more time?
Be brave and show your weaknesses, for in your weaknesses, others see your strengths.
I love it. And with that, we will be back in just a moment with Lynda West.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to become a guest on the Simone Edwards Show? Well, please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back in studio. Once again, we have about 10 more minutes left of the show. Oh my gosh, I've never been so sad to see a show end in all my life. And then, oh my goodness, you guys, we really have to start video recording because our during break conversations are so good that I want to go back and like get you caught up, but I can't because you really need to know what Alms Productions is. And I would do a huge disservice to Lynda and to you if I didn't tell you what Alms Productions was about or give her the opportunity to tell you, especially for those of you in the San Diego area that either have a not-for-profit business or you would like to start one. So tell us, what is Alms Productions?
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
To talk about homes. That's funny. Yeah, originally we were going to start talking about that a little bit earlier, but
Yeah.
just things segued. That's part of the puzzle pieces you're putting together, right?
Yes.
Alms Productions. First of all, what does alms mean? Alms is giving, and it's philanthropy, and it actually fit really well with what I do. My business is about helping nonprofits
Okay.
grow and become sustainable. And what I'm finding interesting is, as I'm opening up the Pandora's box of my own brain, is that if I have an idea, first of all, it doesn't mean that that has to be the idea, the path that I go all along.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that is because I just started Alms Productions in November of 2014.
Okay.
So I'm going through a lot of iterations, trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I know what my calling is, right? But
Right.
what does that mean? How do I do that? We're not supposed to pay attention to the how. It's just supposed to unfold for us. But what's happening is, in the meantime, is I'm having a bunch of different ideas that are hitting me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having to stop, listen, think, and then act or not act.
Right.
Because I do have, like, my brain is constantly going, thinking about things I can do to raise money for charities, things I can do to bring them together. One of the things I love doing is bringing together nonprofits with businesses that support nonprofits,
Right.
and volunteers. So I have like this triangle of people I want to bring together. And I started a nonprofit speaker series
Right.
January of 2015. And it's, really great event. And it actually happened. I wanted to bring these 3 people together, and they showed up. It wasn't like I targeted anybody. I just said, I'm putting this out there. Come on and show up and see what we have. And what ended up showing up was volunteers, businesses that support volunteers, and support nonprofits and nonprofits, all into one location.
Wow.
So bringing them together so that they can collaborate with each other. I've had nonprofits that have now collaborated, like 2 or 3 different nonprofits where we all help children. So now they're helping each other, trying to figure it out. How can we collaborate with each other so we can make a bigger impact, reaching our audiences?
That's so excellent, because what you're doing is creating synergy
Yes.
among the nonprofits. So rather than I have a nonprofit and I'm an island all to myself with my 25 volunteers,
Right.
I can partner up with another nonprofit who's in the same vein that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, create a greater impact for other people. I think that's wonderful.
And what I love about it, Simone, is that there's a lot of businesses out there, right? So businesses, a lot of times it's cutthroat. They're not really concerned about the other competition that they have. Whereas in nonprofits, generally,
Right.
they don't think of it as competition.
Right.
That's one thing I love about nonprofits, is because they lead with their heart first.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the money is second. Like, trying to figure out raising all this money is really important to do to further their mission. But they're always thinking with their heart, like, how can we further our mission? How can we do this? How can we do this to
Right.
make things better? So what happens is they collaborate with each other instead of saying, oh, I got to get better than this one. I got to get better than that one. They come together and they make things work together. Now, if they're not thinking that way,
Mm-hmm.
they're not thinking, in my opinion, the nonprofit way.
Right.
It's because for me, it's all about bringing these people together. It's all about making an impact on the earth as much as we can.
Right.
Whether it's your little neighborhood or whether it's global, it doesn't matter. It's making that impact, and bringing these people together I love doing that. It's one of my passions that I have.
I think that's so awesome. So let's say we have someone who's listening, and how do they become a part of the nonprofit speaker series?
Well, okay, so that's part of my one of my changes that I'm going through. The nonprofit speaker series, what I'm doing, I'm actually changing that a little bit. Instead of having it be an event that is in a location, what I'm going to do is start podcasting.
Oh, that's excellent.
I'm so excited to do that. I don't know how. It's one of those, I want to do this thing. I don't know how to do it, but I know it's going to happen.
Right.
Because I have the people around me who know how to do this stuff and will help me figure it out. So I'll be interviewing experts in various fields that can help nonprofits grow and become sustainable. I'll be interviewing businesses that support nonprofits. There are so many businesses out there that what they want to do is help nonprofits so that they can, make an impact in their communities.
Right.
So I'll be interviewing those people as well as I'll be interviewing nonprofits, because nonprofits need to get the word out there, right? What better way to do it than to get onto a podcast where people can hear what they're doing from the founder.
Right.
They get to have these questions that it's not like going to their website where you can go on there and read about them. No, you can hear these questions like you're asking questions that lead to different questions that lead to different questions.
Right.
That's exactly what I'll be doing, but with these different people.
Oh, that's fantastic. So and I love the transition, because what it does is doing away with the speaker series is that for the person who can't make it,
Right.
for whatever reason,
Right.
now they have an opportunity. You know what? I wasn't able to catch that podcast. I really wanted to find out about that nonprofit, or I really wanted to find out how to do this better.
Right.
And so now, whether it's on my way to work or on my lunch break or after work or whatever the case may be, I can tune in and get the information that I need. And then not only that, archive it so that I can come back and get it later.
Right, and that's one of the ideas behind it. Now, I was videotaping the nonprofit speaker series, so it is on our YouTube channel, which is
that's
Alms
great.
Productions.
Okay.
I'll just really quick, my website is alms.productions.
Okay.
There is no .com, so that gets people a little confused, because everybody's so used to .com, but pretty soon the .productions will be out there all over the place, and people will get it. But, alms.productions, that's where we have our events. We have the Lemon Zest and Garlic Fest coming up in August of 2016.
Right.
I also am working on another event called the Berry Best Chocolate Fest.
Ooh, so before we get into what sounds sweet and deliciousness, let's talk about the savory.
Yeah.
What is the lemon
Zest and
garlic
Fest?
fest? What is that?
Well, I'll tell you how that came about. First of all, I did have my own charity. I founded my own charity, and that would be another show that maybe we could do sometime. But
Absolutely.
I did. I founded my own charity. I had this passion to help a sector that I really wanted to help. The charity is called You Are Charities, and we had an event last year called Lemonade. So this year, when I actually, in November, when I left my job, I also stepped down as the president of my own charity, because I realized my calling was not to help one sector, but my calling is to help as many nonprofits as I can.
Right.
So my goal is by the end of 2016 to have helped 100 nonprofits. And to do that, I can't do it by helping only one area.
Right.
So I stepped down as president, and then wanted to hold an event. And I thought, you know what? There's a Garlic Fest up in Gilroy every year. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's up near San Jose, and it's 130 degrees. I've been there. It's a 3-day event. It is a killer, awesome event.
Wow.
And I thought, why don't we have something like that down here? And I said, oh, well, you know what? Let's have something like that down here. I'll just do it, right?
Right.
And so I combining the Lemonade event that we held, as well as the Garlic Festival, came together this idea. So it's tasting event where you have lemony and garlic foods, and then tastings, and there's also beer and wine. We're making some changes for this second year to make it an even better event, which is what you do. You learn your lessons, and you change things to make them better year after year after year. And I do see this being an extended event. I see this becoming a 3-day event here in San Diego.
Lovely.
Just being a lot of fun and raising a lot of money for a lot of charities. I see this event actually in the next 5 years as being an event where I'm impacting a bunch of charities in San Diego in a 3-day period.
Oh, that's excellent. I love that.
Me too.
So tell us now about, because we have been giving
Yes.
the time countdown.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about Berry chocolate.
Best Chocolate Fest. Everything has to rhyme with fest,
Yeah.
So I love chocolate. I'm a chocoholic, and I was like, people were saying, you should do a chocolate festival. You should do a chocolate festival. And I said, there's so many chocolate festivals. There's wine and chocolate, beer and chocolate. There's all these chocolate. So I just thought, what would be fun is berries. I love berries, and I love chocolate, and what better than to put them together into an event? And so we're working on that right now. We're looking at February or March of 2016 for our inaugural event. And yes, I'll be doing that at the same time as I'm doing the Lemon Zest and Garlic Fest, which is in August. I know I'm a little crazy, but I have a fantastic team of people who help me put this on. I have a great PR team, marketing team, volunteers. It's just an amazing thing of what has been given to me because I've opened my heart and opened my mind to what is out there that can help me make this happen and make this impact on this earth.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely have enjoyed, I'm just beaming from ear to ear. I have so enjoyed having you as a guest in studio. And I
Thank you so
really
much.
do hope that you can come back again and we can maybe even talk about, what you did before with your nonprofit and the transition that you made, or just keep in touch. Let us know when you have events. We'll be sure to notify our audience, get that information out on our show page to give you as much as much PR as possible.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it is our pleasure. We have once again so enjoyed having you. I believe that I am I am at 0 minutes. So it is time for me to shut up. Which is so sad because I want to talk some more. But we have had a wonderful time here in studio with Lynda West, and please check her out at
www.alms.productions.
Excellent, at Alms Productions. You can also see her. You can find them on YouTube at Alms Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then can they reach out to you on Facebook?
Facebook. My name is Lynda, Lynda, Giving to Charity West. And then we have Alms Productions is out there. Lemon Zest Garlic Fest page. Like that page and see what's going on with us.
Excellent. And we will be sure to keep you all posted with what's going on with their upcoming events. They're coming up on their 1-year anniversary,
Yes.
Being up, and I think that's incredible, as well as what they're planning for 2016. We have had a wonderful time here in studio. We hope you have too. We hope that you were inspired and that you were challenged, and that perhaps you'll start to look at your life just a little bit differently. For those who are discouraged, we hope that we're leaving you in a better place, knowing that God really has not forgotten about you. Your purpose is yet to be discovered, and your mark and your impact on the world has yet to be felt. Be encouraged, and we will see you next week on the Simone Edwards Show. Love you guys. Bye.